Very, very warm welcome to everybody tuning in today to the Horsefall Stadium as we host Lynn Town, recently relegated from the Conference National. We'll apologise ahead that we may have a few technical issues here today as the internet is being powered through an iPhone. Line up for Park Avenue today. Number 1 in goal, George Sykes-Kenworthy. Lucas Adunson and newly signed from Huddersfield Town, Shane Marudza at left back. Mitch Lund and Luca Haven at centre back. Sam Fielding, Jamie Spencer and Simon Richmond forming the partnership in midfield that has been so successful throughout pre-season. Eddie Church leading the line up front, and likely Ollie Johnson and Harrison Hopper starting out on the wings for Avenue. Lynn Town, we have Paul Jones in goal, Tyler Denton, ex-Leeds United, Adam Crowther, Joshua Coulson, Michael Clunan, Theo Widrington, Cameron Hargreaves, Aaron Jones, Gold Omateo, Oliver Scott and Jordan Ponticelli. Avenue hoping to get their season off to a strong start here today. Lynn will be hoping to start their season off as they aim to get back into the Conference National at the first time of asking. We will be having a minute's silence shortly for the ex-Avenue kitman. Dave Wilson and Alan Morris. A very fitting tribute to two ex-Avenue employees on the start of the Conference North Day. Avenue setting out in all green, white shorts, white socks. Lynn in their, I believe, home jersey here today. It's a lovely sunny day here at the Horsefall Stadium. Avenue faithful, very loud behind the goal, as we're all very happy to see football back. And away we go, Lynn with the kick-off, shooting left to right, goes long in towards their big number 9, Gold Amatoyo today. No threat. It is a throw-in to Lynn, deep in the Avenue half, right by the corner flag on the far side. Looks for options, back towards his own goal. It's hoofed in deep towards Sykes-Kenworthy, who jumps up very calmly to collect the ball, and will look to start an attack for Avenue. Avenue do seem to have set out in more of a standard 4-3-3 today, used it often in pre-season. The fullback areas were a problem for Avenue throughout pre-season, and they have sorted one of them issues out today with the addition of Shane Marudza on loan from Huddersfield. Kings Lynn faithful also making themselves heard. Down to the left. A little bit derogatory towards Bradford. Kings Lynn come forward here, dinked it in, and it is dealt with very well by Luca Haven, making his return to the starting lineup today. Ollie Johnson flicks it away. It's into the midfield with Kings Lynn, looking to keep some early possession. Coulson goes along the back four to Denton, who looks to be sitting in as a back three today for Kings Lynn. Hopper wings it back for Avenue and gives it to Dunstan. Dunstan looks to give him it back again. Hopper uses his body well and manages to fight off a couple of challenges to win the free kick on the far side for Avenue. Wins possession back. Hopper had a fantastic pre-season in the midfield. Struggled for fitness last season and struggled to make the midfield position his own. And it looks like today he's going to be starting out on the right wing for Avenue. More away from his natural position in the centre of the midfield. Fielding Spencer and Richmond looking to make that their own at the start of the season. Sykes Kenworthy goes long now from the free kick. It's in towards Denton, who does get his head to it for Kings Lynn. It's flicked back in, ball's bouncing around a lot at the moment with neither team able to get a foot on the ball. Church looking at more man than ball there and does give away a free kick some 20 yards outside of the Kings Lynn box. Church, while not looking like the standard target man, does get his body in front of the defenders extremely well and has a very good reach, a very good spring. Kings Lynn now look to go forward from left to right, in towards Jones on the right wing. Gets to it first. Surely the new man is fouled there, but it is Cross has managed to dig in, and Dunstan just gets in the way of Mateo's header and blocks the attempt on goal, and it does go out for a Kings Lynn corner on the far side. Dangerous moments there. It did look as if there should have been a free kick on Marudza for Avenue, but nothing given by the referee. Cross is going to be coming in right-footed from Theo Widrington for Lynn. It's crossing, it's low, and it's towards Denton. It's defended extremely well by Ollie Johnson, who makes the clearance. Kings Lynn back in possession now. Spencer dispossesses Kings Lynn well, and he looks to get Church on the way down into the channel. It's a very good challenge by the Kings Lynn centre-half. Got there just ahead of Church and played it out for a throw-in. Spencer just takes the sting out of the game, puts the ball down, allows Avenue to get forward. He's going to leave it for a Dunstan to take the throw-in. Already looking like the counter-attacking approach to get Church in behind is going to be the area of attack for Avenue. Spencer gets up well, wins the header, comes back to him, and it is Spencer, strikes well, oh, and it's just wide of Paul Jones's goal for Lynn. Very close to the bottom far-hand corner for Avenue. Extremely good moment. Ball broke well for Spencer on the edge of the Kings Lynn box. Spencer took a touch, took it out of his feet, struck right-footed across from right to left, just missed the far post. 5 minutes in here. So far, Avenue the only team really with a sight at goal with that chance for Spencer. Scored a very good goal last week in pre-season, did Spencer. Its second spell here at Avenue after leaving Guiseley last season. Jones will look to take the throw-in on this near side for Lynn. Down the line. It's defended by Haven. Kings Lynn keep possession here with Denton now on the far side. So looking to whip the ball in quickly. It is dinked in. Sykes Kenworthy jumps well and claims the ball for Avenue once again. At the moment, the accuracy from the wide areas for Kings Lynn is not accurate towards their big man up front. Kings Lynn appeared to be setting in more of a back five when out of possession. Should give them enough numbers really to deal with the Avenue attacks. Avenue tending to be more of a counter-attacking side. Joshua Coulson now in possession for Kings Lynn. Comes across and looking for the diagonal play towards Amatoyo up front. Maduza deals with it well for Avenue, and it's cleared by Sykes Kenworthy. Left footed is very high in towards Johnson. Johnson in the challenge with Crowther. Crowther does win it on this occasion. Ball at the moment not settling for either side as both teams look to just assert some dominance in the game. What we've seen through pre-season is that Avenue will look to create attacks down the fullback positions. Both fullbacks during pre-season were trialists and both appeared to do some fantastic work at the back for Avenue. Neither on display here today, as Marudza has had to be shipped in at the last minute to fill in the left back role for Avenue. Back in play now for Kings Lynn. Jones looks forward towards the big man once again at the back, and it is dealt with well by Mitch Lund. Here once again for Avenue. Mitch Lund, Luke Haven, both offering their services for Avenue, along with the likes of Adam Nowakowski and Lucas Adunson looking to make the position his own at right back this season in his second year with Avenue. Hopper fielding, both signed from York last season, both here for the remainder of the 22-23 season. As Mark Bauer looks to shore up his team, I'm sure there'll be some more incomings over the next few weeks. Medusa goes down the wing towards Church. Church is handled by Crowther, but nothing given once again by the referee. Mitch Lund's up well. Again, once again we have a little bit of ping pong. Luke Haven clears this time towards Johnson. Johnson gets his head up in towards Spence, who just gets there second, unfortunately for Avenue. And the ball breaks now for Tyler Denton, who goes towards his winger on the left. Denton an option to bring the ball back, and they look to come back across the Lynn back four to Crowther. Crowther go back inside to Coulson and again across to Denton, who certainly is, while Lynn are in possession, making more of a back three rather than the marauding left back that he potentially can be. Kingsley now in the centre, looking to build up an attack with Clunnan. Clunnan goes back inside for Lynn. This is good work from Kings Lynn as they look to keep some possession, not rushing the play. Coulson goes forward again to Denton. Denton's looking for the switch, but it comes back across the midfield to Cameron Hargreaves. Cameron Hargreaves with a couple of goals during pre-season for Kings Lynn. It's played into the channel and it should go all the way through for an Avenue goal kick. Kings Lynn had fairly strong pre-season, finishing pre-season off with a 4-0 victory as they look to, hopefully for them, bounce back at the first time of asking into the Conference National, one of 3 teams to be relegated last season. Sykes Kenworthy now will look to take goal kick from the right hand side of his 6-yard box. We'll be looking in towards Church, who's currently stood in an offside position, looking to make his way back into an onside position after the first contact. He actually goes to receive the ball this time. Surely will be offside. Nothing given by the linesman. Spencer plays it forward, and it does now break for Kings Lynn to get the ball forward once again in towards Sykes Kenworthy's box, and it will go all the way through to the Avenue number 1. Kings Lynn looking to set up quite high up the pitch when out of possession. Ponticelli straight away looking to put pressure on Sykes Kenworthy. Church gets up well against Coulson. Doesn't win it on this occasion, but the centre-back does complain. Richmond took the ball down well, knocked it away from the Kings Lynn man and drew a free kick. Did look soft, but it was there to be won. And it's an Avenue free kick, some 30-35 yards out, slightly on the left. We've seen from pre-season that Fielding will look to dominate the set-piece options. He'll be wanting to be the man that's on the delivery for Avenue. Fielding and Hopper stood over it. Hopper stood over it left-footed. He certainly will not be taking it on his unfavoured left foot. Fielding will look to flag this in, left to right. Lots of targets in the box, or just on the outside of the box for Avenue. Church haven't Lund all wanting to get on it. Fielding floats it towards the back post. Denton gets there. He had to deal with it. It may have gone all the way out, but Denton felt like he had to deal with it. Flicked it out for a throw-in, which Dunstan will take on the far side, some 5 yards away from the corner flag. Dunstan looking for options. He's got Hopper close. Instead goes inside to Hopper. Hopper now flicks it inside once again. Looks to get Richmond in on the ball, but it does break for Avenue. It's bouncing about. Church with his back to goal. Does play it back towards the edge of the box with Spencer. Spencer chips it in, and it comes out to Fielding. Kings Lynn struggling to get the ball away at the moment. Struggling to get the ball to any sort of safety. It goes into Johnson. Johnson, unfortunately, had just drifted offside. Did look like the ball was going to break for an Avenue strike on goal there, with either Spencer or Richmond in the midfield. They both kind of got in each other's way. The ball then broke for Church with his back to goal, left with no option but to go back out to Spencer. And unfortunately for Avenue, the attack did break down on this occasion. Kings Lynn will once again look to build through Tyler Denton, who comes across to Crowther for Lynn. Avenue last season showed themselves to be extremely adept at dealing with being without the ball. Jones now does look to cross towards the back post. It's flicked in, and it's easily gained by Sykes Kenworthy. Does go down holding his face. I don't think there was too much in that. Referee blows for a break anyway. Wasn't happy with the Kings Lynn challenge. Didn't look like there was much in it. Sykes Kenworthy, I'm sure, will be absolutely fine. Referee just checks on him anyway. Yeah, as I was saying, Avenue have shown themselves to be extremely adept with dealing with passages of play without the ball. Last season, there was often the team more on the defensive and found moments in counter-attacking transfers with the likes of Brad Doherty. Often setting up with the 5 at the back. This season, throughout pre-season, Matt Bauer looking more towards a back 4, giving himself more control in the midfield with the midfield 3 that he feels like he now has. Kings Lynn now with the throw-in, play it down the left-hand side. It does break for Johnson, and Kings Lynn win the 50-50, and it comes out to Jones on the right-hand side. Jones looks to float the ball in. Sykes Kenworthy comes a long way and gets there just away from Amateo. That was a risky moment for the Avenue number 1. Came a long way to collect that against a big presence in the Kings Lynn number 9. Sykes Kenworthy will, on this occasion, look to go long, out of his hands. Doesn't get too much distance on it, more height in towards the halfway line. It's broken for Maduza, who plays it into the channel extremely well for Church. Church now waiting for options to get alongside him. He jinks in on his right foot extremely well. Dinks towards the back post. It's a little bit long from the Avenue number 9. Made an excellent impression during pre-season as the ex-Brighouse Town man, making his first step up into the Conference North this season. A lot expected from the new number 9. But Dunstan now in possession, gives it to Hopper, and Hopper goes back to Spencer. Just shows too much of it to Kings Lynn, and this allows Kings Lynn with a little bit of a counter. Spencer does extremely well to get back. Tenacious midfielder is Spencer. Works extremely hard in the midfield, showed that through his time in the Conference North, the Conference National and below. Was one of Geisley's main men last season, unfortunately in their unsuccessful season in the Conference North as they did suffer relegation. Matt Bauer will be hoping to see more towards the top end of the table this season. However, it is always a struggle in the Conference North for a team with Avenue's budget. Some huge teams in the Conference North this season, not more so than as visitors today. Maduza looking to stretch his legs and get there ahead of Ponticelli. He uses his body well and lets it go out for a throw-in. The Huddersfield man will be looking to make an impression for the first time in men's first team football for Avenue. Starting off with a 1-month loan, but as we've often seen with temporary transfers at this level, they do get extended. Avenue making good relations with nearby teams, Leeds, Bradford and Huddersfield. Medusa will take the throw-in on the left side. Goes down the line towards Johnson and Church. Johnson backing into his man, keeping possession well for Avenue. Gives it to Johnson. Johnson plays it into the channel once more, where Hopper is now taking up position. Looks to check back in on his right-hand side. Takes away from his man, crosses left-footed, and it is cleared away, I believe, for an Avenue throw-in. Far on the near side. Some 8 or 9 yards away from the corner flag, which Medusa will go over to take. Medusa will look for options. He's got Spencer, Johnson and Hopper coming short. Johnson takes it down and gives it back to the Huddersfield man. Gives it into Spencer. And Spencer looks to switch play to Dunstan. Dunstan gets there first, just gives Church a lot to do. Church now can't closes Denton down in the corner. Denton manages to get the ball away, and it's Fielding who picks it up for Avenue. Some good possession for Avenue here. Mitch Lund goes all the way back to Sykes Kenworthy, who will look towards Haven, but he doesn't. It checks back on his right foot and goes more towards the right wing, in towards Hopper. Hopper jumps well. It breaks for Lynn on this occasion. Once again, the ball just back and forward at the moment. Neither team able to really get on top. Sykes Kenworthy left with no option but to clear out for a throw in. It looks like it goes out and comes back in. Hopper actually took control of the ball back in the field of play. Look like we've got a good attendance inside Horsfall Stadium today, up against the start of the Premier League season, but with Bradford City away, should hopefully see a good following here. Kings Lynn has certainly brought some numbers from Norfolk. It's cleared well by Medusa. Got to get used to this name. It's not Medusa, that makes it sound like Medusa. It's Maruza. Shane Maruza. Kings Lynn back in possession now. It's closed down well by Dunstan. Dunstan really struggled last season after signing on a free transfer from Hull to really stake a place in the team. Often used off the bench by Matt Bauer in the middle of the Avenue midfield. That was switched really well by Kings Lynn from the left for them to the right towards Jones, and Jones will be extremely disappointed with his first touch. If he'd have managed to control that, as he should have done really, they could have been in down the right hand side, and thankfully for Avenue the ball broke off his foot and squirmed out for a throw-in for Avenue. Maruza gets the ball back in play. Johnson looks fouled again, but nothing given. Referee letting him as much go as possible. Jones plays the ball into the midfield. It's taken down well by Ponticelli. Ponticelli turns away from Mitch Lund, who goes back inside now, and it's all the way back with Kings Lynn backline once again. Kings Lynn not scared to let the ball go back towards their own goal in the hope of keeping possession. Ponticelli now allowed to turn, crosses the ball in, and it's dealt with that. Haven't managed to get the ball down, but it actually brought it down quite nicely for Cameron Hargreaves for Kings Lynn, who struck the ball from the edge of the Avenue box, and thankfully for Avenue, some 20 yards over the bar. Not of any real danger was the strike, but the position was of some danger for Avenue. It's a half chance for Kings Lynn. Probably the first of the game. Sounds like the Kings Lynn have packed out the small stand behind the goal on the entrance to the Horsfall Stadium. Eddie Church gets up well, doesn't win the flick on this occasion, but he's going to be a challenge for any centre-back. Ponticelli puts pressure on Luke Haven. Luke Haven claims for handball, and it is given by the linesman against the Kings Lynn winger. He's frustrated by it. He's saying the ball's been played to me. He sees ball to hand, linesman deciding that it was outside of his silhouette, which is often the rule nowadays for handball. Be interesting to see how the centre-back pairing of Haven and Lund deal with the threats today. Haven not really having any pre-season for Avenue. Lund has played nearly every minute for Avenue at the back, normally alongside a trialist centre-back from what we've seen. Avenue now win a throw-in on this left side, some 20 yards from the corner flag. 25 yards. And Maruza looks to go back towards Haven. Haven will float the ball in towards Church. Church jostles with Denton. It breaks for Spencer. Spencer looks to get away from his man and just breaks nicely for Kings Lynn. The number 9 wins it extremely well, and it's broken for Ponticelli. And Haven manages to get there ahead of Ponticelli, who, I think in a little bit of frustration after the handball from earlier, goes into his man a little bit late and gives away a free kick for Avenue. 22 minutes here at the Horsfall Stadium. I think Avenue will be slightly the happier of the two sides, given the hopes and the expectations of their opponents here today. I think they'll be happy with their control of the game. They've certainly, I think, had the better chance of the two teams. Spencer at the edge of the box, striking just wide of Jones's goal. Sykes Kenworthy will look to get us back underway here. Free kick just outside of his box on the left hand side. Goes long in towards Church once again. Church gets up a little early. It's won well by Coulson. Breaks for Maruza. Maruza goes inside to Fielding. Fielding looking to do too much. Gives it away and it's broken now for Ponticelli. It's defended extremely well by Lucas Dunstan. Fantastic work by the fullback. Ponticelli looks up at the sky in frustration as he just couldn't get the ball away from the former Hull man. Now Fielding will clear for Avenue. That will by Coulson once again. It's Richmond up for the header. Johnson wins the seconds. Spencer in there, 50-50, nice and strong by the Avenue man. It breaks for Maruza to play into the channel. Church into Church, and Church just can't get the ball under control. Jamie Spencer rightly saying to him, come on, you need to hold the ball up for us when it gets up there. Again, it's something that Eddie Church has certainly shown throughout pre-season, that he will be extremely useful for Avenue. Him and Jacob Blythe both vying for the number 9 spot for Avenue. Ball back in play now with a flick on from Johnson, and it's cleared out for another throw-in for Avenue. Maruza with the ball once again down the left hand side. Be interesting to see if there will be any more incomings on loan in the next couple of weeks. The games do come thick and fast now for Avenue. Scarborough coming up midweek this week for an away trip to Kettering. Kill it with fire. We appear to have a fly-on spider action going on the windowsill here. It's not something that I expected to see during today's game. Maruza now gets us back underway again and gives it into Hopper. Hopper, nice little drag back and gives it back into Maruza, who crosses. It's dealt with well by Kings Lynn. Fielding tries to keep the attack going, but again it's cleared away on the edge of the Kings Lynn box. It's broken out for a Dunstan and plays it into Hopper. The linesman deciding that Hopper's offside. I'm not really sure how that could have been the case, given from the position that he came from, but the linesman has given it anyway. Premier League fans have no idea how much of a luxury they have with some of the refereeing on display in the top flight in comparison to non-league football. Jones will look to take the free kick for Kings Lynn just outside of his box, goes long towards the big man up front for Kings Lynn again. Haven battles well with him. Church brings it down well and keeps hold of possession. Unfortunately for Avenue, Richmond loses it this time. Richmond also not had much pre-season. The midfield man, couple of appearances here and there, but he's certainly been in and out during pre-season. The midfield three has often been Spencer, Fielding and Hopper, with another man out on the wing for Avenue. Richmond taking the position today with Hopper being trusted out wide. Richmond looked like he hit the centre-back Coulson with a flailing arm. Referee originally played on, but I think the reaction of the Kings Lynn centre-back kind of forced the referee to bring that back for a free kick. Not sure if he's actually given a free kick or whether he's just stopped play because of an injury to the head. Eddie Church complains that he didn't do anything. He's just jumped for the ball. Nothing given. I don't think there was any guilty action there by Eddie Church. Both teams now protest that they should have a free kick, they should have the ball. I think the referee is going to start play with some form of drop ball here. Apologies while we understand exactly what's going on here. I think that, the referee is going to start the play again with a avenue drop ball. It gives it to Fielding. Fielding will go straight out wide to Maruza. Maruza will look to get his head up, switch it to his left foot and get a cross in. It's defended well by the Kings Lynn fullback. He's playing inside to Hopper again. Hopper finding himself on this left wing a lot, considering the fact that he's starting out on the right today. Interesting tactic by Avenue. Overloading the left-hand side. It looks like Hopper is out and out starting on the right-hand side of Eddie Church with Ollie Johnson on the left in a 4-3-3, but often Hopper is finding himself in combinations on the on his far side, on this left-hand side, often being an option as an outlet, as an extra outlet, but when the cross then comes in, there's nothing coming in from the far side when that happens. Maruza once again will get the action underway down this left-hand side. It's broken for Kings Lynn. Look quickly for Ponticelli, but it's cleared by Dunstan. Spencer will now look to win the 50-50 once again. Shanks it high towards Denton on the left side, who brings it down fantastically well. Instantly under pressure by Eddie Church, who plays it out for a Kings Lynn throw-in. Fantastic work by the Avenue number 9. Pressing from the front, exactly where defending should start. Kings Lynn back underway now, broken once again for a Dunstan. A Dunstan looked to drive the ball away, probably did a little bit too much, was closed down by a couple of Kings Lynn midfielders, and the ball is now broken for Jones, who looks into the channel towards Ponticelli once again. Ponticelli brings it down, keeps the ball in really well, and it's managed to be dealt with by Haven and Medusa. Ball cleared. At the moment, the game once again is just in the 50-50 stage where neither team can really get in control of the game. Ball's now broken for Denton. Checks back in. Little Cruyff turn. Allows the ball to be crossed in. It's played in high. Sykes Kenworthy doesn't get there ahead of the number 9. And it breaks for Ollie Johnson from an Avenue persuasion. Bit lucky to get away with that once again. Sykes Kenworthy coming a long way out of his box to try and claim these crosses. It's back into the Avenue box. It's defended well by Jamie Spencer once again, and out for a Kings Lynn corner on the far side. A couple of moments where Kings Lynn are just getting in down the channels in between a Dunstan and the centre back. Often Mitch Lund on that side. Maruza and Haven dealing with the danger down the Avenue left. Probably a little bit better. Ponticelli looking to get into the gaps. Half an hour gone here at the Horsfall Stadium. It is Bradford Park Avenue 0, still Kings Lynn 0. Fan takes his time bringing the ball back, as we've clearly only got one. We will get play back underway with a corner from the far hand side. Going to be taken right footed by Theo Widrington once again for Lynn. Delivers a bit higher this time in towards the 6-yard box, basically cleared off the goal line. I think that was Ollie Johnson who manages to get there ahead of the Kings Lynn man. It's cleared away by Hopper. Church can't get away on the break. It's put back in to the danger area by Kings Lynn. Denton keeps it in, and it's now broken for Ollie Johnson, who will get his head up and look to try and find an out ball, but there isn't one. And it's just given back to Oliver Scott for Kings Lynn. He looks to break forward now on his left foot. He's going to deliver the ball in once again. It's dealt with well by Mitch Lund. And once again by a Dunstan on the far side. Church now needing to hold the ball up for Avenue. Gets his body in front of the ball well. Turns away fantastically well. Surely a free kick in there. Nothing given once again by referee. Let him play, carry on. Looked like Church maybe just got a little stamp on his right foot. But he got on with it pretty quickly after the initial claims. Kings Lynn now back in possession, looking to attack down this right and their left hand side, the Avenue right, constantly against the young fullback Lucas Dunstan. Ball now in possession with Adam Crowther once again for Kings Lynn. Forward down this right hand side now into Jones. Back into the midfield with Widrington. Denton looks to get his head up and go forward, but again, Kings Lynn happy to just be in non-dangerous possession, not wanting to give the ball back to Avenue too quickly. Avenue now looking to break, but the ball just doesn't fall for them, and it's back in Kings Lynn possession. Aaron Jones getting through a lot of work down the Kings Lynn right, playing almost as a right wing back from the right hand side. Avenue now looking to break. It's defended well by Kings Lynn once again. Effective pressure by the midfield. In towards Church, and Church gets absolutely clattered by Adam Crowther, fairly in the air by the big man. Kings Lynn with two huge centre backs here today for Eddie Church to try and deal with. Jacob Blythe may fare a little bit better against them if he comes on in the second half. Much more of a physical presence. Ponticelli now with his head up, plays it in towards the big number 9. Goes out harmlessly for an Avenue goal kick. Omoteyu is clearly the target man for Kings Lynn. Big presence up front, big man. So far the target has not been hit for Kings Lynn. We'll get play back underway with George Sykes Kenworthy for Avenue in his second full season for Avenue this year. Certainly showed himself to be an impressive shot stopper last season, and his distribution certainly has come on leaps and bounds during pre-season. Goes long now. Once again it'll be towards Hopper. Hopper jumps, but unfortunately nothing going this time. It goes out for Kings Lynn throwing. Kings Lynn now looking to once again build from the back. They go long towards Omoteyu. Omoteyu backing into Mitch Lund. Mitch Lund wins a 50-50. Free kick given to Kings Lynn some 15-20 yards out. Jamie Spencer once again will be the first, as always, to protest and complain. Looked very much like a 50-50, but Richmond was with his hands all over the Kings Lynn number 7. Dangerous moments here for Avenue. It's going to have to be some effort to beat Sykes Kenworthy from this distance, but it'd certainly be a chance that a free kick specialist would be hoping to at least get on target. Looks like it's going to be Michael Clunan over the ball for Kings Lynn. 2 players over the ball. Potentially a little layoff and strike for Widrington. Referee brings the ball back 10 yards. Does look like it will be Clunan to step away. Clunan now with a strike. Does go for goal, and it's some 5 yards over the bar. No threat real for Sykes Kenworthy. They did scamper across ever so slightly, but no real worry for the Avenue number 1. Would have had to be some effort to beat the Avenue goalkeeper from that distance. Sykes Kenworthy will now look to get play back underway. It's going to go long. Defence sent away. Good distribution by the Avenue man in towards Church. It is Denton who wins the header, plays it out for an Avenue throw-in. Halfway inside the Kings Lynn half. It's played in quickly by Dunstan into Richmond. Richmond unfortunately gives the ball away, and it's broken now to Jones on the right hand side for Kings Lynn. He's got loads of space to eat up in front of him. Maruza looks to put pressure on him. Jones goes inside, and Jones takes it back again. It's good football by Kings Lynn. In down the left hand side, it's playing in across the 6 yard box and all the way across and out for a goal kick for Avenue. Lucky moments there for Avenue. The ball was played very nicely all the way across the 6 yard box. You'd think that Omoteyu would have been delighted with the service, and unfortunately can't mop it up on this occasion for Kings Lynn. Scary moments for Kings Lynn, for Avenue there, sorry. They'll be happy to get away with one. In far too easily down the left hand side. Nice bit of play by Jones, who cut inside, found The marauding left-hand side, I think it was Oliver Scott actually, who was up from the left-hand side. Sykes Kenworthy once again will go long in towards Hopper and Church. Hopper gets up. It goes all the way out for a throw-in. Again, the Avenue protestations. They feel like they should have had that throw-in. Nothing given by the linesman. Kings Lynn get the play back underway quickly. Kings Lynn just starting to get up ahead of steam, starting to make a little bit more of their possession. On this occasion, they have given it straight back to Sykes Kenworthy, but you do feel like Kings Lynn are just growing into the game. Jones getting involved, Ponticelli getting involved for the visitors. Sykes Kenworthy says to Maruza, no, you go away, I'm going to go long. Doesn't get a great kick out of his hands on this occasion. Omateo will win that. Fielding brings it down for Avenue, and it's cleared by Haven in towards Richmond. Denton wins a header. Fielding goes back forward. Bit of table tennis. Header tennis. And goes all the way back to the Kings Lynn goalkeeper in Jones. He looks to deliver towards Omateo. Omateo wins it, but a little bit aimlessly. Has no idea where he has played that, and he goes out for an Avenue throw-in. Probably got too much on that, the big man. Never really want to get too much contact on the headers when you're playing as a target man. It's more flick-ons that you want to look for. Maruza now gets the ball back in play towards Church. And again, the ball breaks for Kings Lynn with Obateu, who goes towards the left-hand side with Oliver Scott. Oliver Scott looks to get his head up, cuts back inside on his left foot into Denton. Denton gives it back to Scott, and Denton looks to give a little force run. Scott delivers into the box, and it's dealt with by Lund. It's headed back into the area by Kings Lynn and back out again by Lund. Richmond wins the 50-50. That's a nasty challenge on Hopper. That's a reckless challenge by the Kings Lynn man. Up extremely high, almost on the thigh area of Hopper, who's taken the full force of that challenge. Avenue complaining. Certainly think that that was at least worth a yellow card. Jamie Spencer offers the Kings Lynn man a hand up. Nothing given. It's Woodrington with the foul. I think Hopper's going to be okay, but it was a high impact moment for the Avenue midfielder. It does look like the referee is going to get out a yellow card. Woodrington does argue his case, but it certainly was a foul on Hopper, and it certainly looked like it'd be worthy of a yellow card and a caution. It was extremely high on the Avenue man. He was never going to win the ball. The ball really had already gone. Some fans do claim for a red. I think that would have been a little bit drastic also. Certainly a very dangerous challenge. Player will get back underway with Sykes Kenworthy. He'll come out of his area to take this free kick some 15 yards outside of his box. He's going to go long and far to the left towards Johnson and Church. It's not going to carry all the way out, which is good for Avenue. It's cleared for a throw-in. Maruza once again will take the throw-in on this near side. As we close in on half-time, I think Kings Lynn have grown into the game well, but I think Mark Bauer will be the happier of the two managers. Johnson brings the ball down from the Maruza throw-in, gives it back into Fielding, gives it to Maruza. Maruza looks to go down his line. He's cut inside this time, the Huddersfield man. He's looking for options, gives it into Hopper, and it's just a little bit too much on it from Maruza, and it goes out for a throw-in for Kings Lynn. Tommy Widrington, I think, will be looking for a little bit more from his team, a little bit more composure in the attacking areas as they go into the second half. Sykes Kenworthy with a big clearance here for Avenue in towards the halfway line. It's won well by Hopper, and it's broken now for Church. Church gets his head up and plays it into the channel for Hopper, but Denton's going to get there first, and he clears down the Kings Lynn left, and the Dunstan shanks it out for a Kings Lynn throw-in, pretty much bang on the halfway line. Still at this stage of the season, first game, you're going to find a bit of pre-season rust that's still there. Teams find the fitness, don't quite have the first touch in place. Tactics are all new after pre-season. Kings Lynn, find what this level is about after relegation last season. Both teams just trying to find their feet. Church has done well. He has blocked the clearance by Crowther. Church now running into the channel. He's going to cross left-footed. It's in towards the box and blocked by the cameraman, but the keeper managed to get hold of the ball. Good moments for Avenue. Ponticelli was a fantastic first touch from the clearance from the goalkeeper. Doesn't make anything of it, unfortunately. Ponticelli frustrated as he clears out the corner flag. Gave the ball back aimlessly to Haven, but he did fantastically well to bring the ball down in the first place. Jones now plays it in towards Mateo up front, who flicks it on, and Sykes Kenworthy will claim. The game so far has been about a lot of moments, half chances. Ball not quite breaking for either team in the moments where they need it to. Both teams struggling to get a foot on the ball in dangerous areas and show that little moment of composure to take the lead. Ball now with Lucas Dunstan for Avenue. Right on halfway, it's closed down well by Mateo. Not really sure what he's given there, the linesman. He's given offside against Mateo, who had come back on from an offside position to then put the full back under possession. It seems like a long period of play to then call the number 9 offside. However, that's what was given, and we're back underway with Sykes Kenworthy. We'll go long, it's flat in towards Johnson. Johnson manages to get control of the ball, and it breaks now for Hopper. Hopper turns back inside, gives it left-footed to Maruza. Maruza cuts out on his left foot, does find a delivery in towards the 6-yard box, cleared away well by Kings Lynn. Ahead of Church, just coming in behind Crowther and Coulson. Maruza with the throw-in, gives it into Richmond, and back to Maruza, who gives it to Haven, and Haven looks into the channel where Ollie Johnson is going to challenge. Crowther gets there first, but Johnson manages to judge the flight of the ball well, and gives it into Hopper, who again finds himself on the left hand side, skips away from his man, crosses in towards the box, and it's cleared away well by Kings Lynn once again. I would tell you, we'll hope to hold the ball well. He does extremely well to manage to get it out to Scott on the Kings Lynn left. And Lucas Dunstan once again doing a sound job defensively, manages to get it all the way back to Sykes Kenworthy for Avenue. Kings Lynn back in possession, halfway inside the Avenue half. Comes all the way across to Jones. Jones gets his head up and looks to float it in towards Mateo. Mateo does win the first ball, and Sykes Kenworthy gets there just ahead of Ponticelli. Ponticelli putting his foot in where he should have done. The man hoping to get there first. Certainly the keeper had to be brave, but it's one that the Kings Lynn winger should certainly be going for. The manager would be going absolutely ballistic if he pulls a foot out there and doesn't at least challenge for that. No claims by Sykes Kenworthy. He's happy to get on with the game. Fielding with a header for Avenue, and again by Fielding. Breaks now for Widrington to clear for Kings Lynn. Out for a throw-in on the far side, halfway inside the half for Avenue. Referee just stopping play to have another word with Ponticelli. I think he's just having a word with the foot into the goalkeeper. And as I said, I think Ponticelli was saying, well, I've got to go for it, ref. It's one of them moments. Avenue to get the game back underway with Dunstan now with a throw-in on the far side. Halfway inside the Avenue half. Goes long down the line towards Church, and it is going to get towards the Avenue number 9. It does well. Plays it inside to Hopper, and it breaks now for Richmond. Gets his head up and looks for Maruza on the left-hand side as the linesman, not the linesman, the fourth official, which is the Avenue man today, puts up the board for 2 minutes of additional time. Fielding with the header towards Johnson. Johnson again goes for the ball. What is he supposed to do, ref? The defender for Kings Lynn has stooped, and it's one of them that unfortunately is always going to get given, but really the head has got less to do there than the foot. Kings Lynn do get play back underway, down the left-hand side now with Tyler Denton. We'll be seconds away from the half-time whistle. Back down the left-hand side, Scott checks inside well for Kings Lynn, plays it into the channel. Oh, it's just too much on it for Kings Lynn, and it's defended well by Mitch Lund. Hopper looks to get the ball away with Johnson, plays it into Fielding, basically plays it under his feet, and they get a little bit lucky there to Avenue. Fielding with an opportunity here to break. It's played out to Maruza on the left. Maruza needs to get his head up. He does look to deliver, and it's defended well by Crowther. Maruza probably with the last action of the half here with the throw-in. Gets it back from Johnson, plays it inside to Hopper, who gives it back out wide to Johnson. Johnson sorts his feet out, looks with a little step over, looks to just get that little bit of space from his man, dinks it in towards the back post. It's too far, unfortunately, for Avenue. Fielding should keep this in, he does, and he gets his head up. He's looking to deliver, he gives it back to a Dunstan, but Richmond takes over instead. He gives it back to Fielding. Fielding plays it inside to Johnson, gets there first, just couldn't get control. It's dinked in by Richmond towards the back post. And Church is manhandled by his man. Referee nothing given. Goes all the way out again to Maruza. Avenue looking for just that one moment before half time. The ball did break back out, and the referee finds that opportunity to blow for half time. And as we finish here after 45, we have Bradford Park Avenue 0, Kings Lynn 0. We will now take a short break as we take half time. 15 minutes, we should be back. We will be back 2 minutes before the start of the second half, and look forward to seeing you all then.